Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to JLEKCA with Nicole. And that's coaching for parents with children from birth to age 5. To start with, we can talk about building trust through consistencies, right? How do we build trust through consistencies in our children and our babies, especially? For instance, if we have infants, right, from 0 to 1 year, now we can get them to trust us by the way we respond to them. Now, consistency has to do with the caregiver, right? How we respond to their cries, how we respond to their hunger, how we treat them. For example, whether it's going to help them to trust us or just not trust us. Should they feel secure around us in the way that we respond to them? So, but for toddlers 1 through 3, right? Like consistency and setting up boundaries for them, setting up the rules for them to help them understand what to expect, right? And also feel safe in that environment. So that's consistency that would help to build trust. Okay. So in other words, don't as caregivers, parents, of course, babysitters, grandparents, whomever is taking care of that child, we need to establish consistency in the way we deal with them and the way we respond to them and the way that we treat them. Treat them nicely. They can trust you. Oh, well, now I'm crying because I'm wet. Um, the caregiver is not just gonna come and yell at me, or she's not gonna like be nice today and then yell tomorrow. Consistency. The child needs to feel safe with you, to feel like they can trust that you're gonna respond that same way, that same nice way. Okay. And the second one is establishing effective routine, right? How do you establish effective routine? Like when for infant, you introduce gentle routine like feeding and napping. You do that on a schedule, right? That's how you establish effective routine. You set schedule, right? And then that helps to regulate the child's body. Like, oh, at 12, I'm gonna eat. So at 12, the body feels hungry, right? At 12, I go, yeah, what else? I take a nap. At 12, my body start getting sleepy. So it helps to regulate the body. It's like programming the body to feel a certain way. As adults, we face that too. Like whatever you used to do at a certain time, once the time comes, your body's already telling you. Like our body has its own clock. We train it to know when certain things is happening or should be happening. For preschoolers, 3 to 5 years, right? Routine for activities like brushing your teeth, packing for school, right? And and also winding down for bedtime, right? That also teach them responsibility and independence, right? So that's how you know the routine is effective, right? You're establishing effective routine, something that works. And the beautiful thing about setting up routine is not like you doing something completely new or you reinventing the wheel or anything like that because it's something you're already doing in your home. You just make it a routine. You just set schedule for it. You just establish some sort of order, right? To establish order to make it more acceptable to the child, to make it more predictable to the child, I should say. Now, the third one is flexibility within structure, right? Balancing consistency and routine with flexibility, right? Now, it's crucial, right? For instance, if a nap is missed, right, due to travel or whatever, life happens, right? Life happens. So when that happens, guess what? We have to be flexible, right? We just have to maintain consistency in the way that we do things. For instance, consistency does not necessarily mean if you eat at 12, you must eat all the time at 12. Life happens. Sometimes you won't be able to eat at 12. So you might get a chance to eat at 12:30. So that's flexibility right there, right? Within that structure, that's flexibility. We have to be flexible because even when we establish routine, it's not written in stone. We cannot be rigid, right? It's not, because if that's happened, if we are rigid in our routine, then life will throw some things at us. We're gonna be very we're going to be shocked. We're going to be in shock because things will happen where what we schedule just won't happen at that very time. And therefore, also the way we handle those surprises will also determine how the children will respond to those changes as well. Role and development and setting up routine and being consistent. How does that help the child develop? It helps them develop cognitively. It enhances their memory. Their memories improve, right? And now all of a sudden, also they understand sequencing, right? Um, let's just say, oh yeah, I brush my teeth before bedtime. I take a bath before I go to sleep. Things like that. So they learn sequence. And guess what that does for them? It prepares them for school. These are the kind of things they're gonna go learn in school. So cognitively, it helps them. Um, Emotionally as well, right? It helps children develop trust and reduce anxiety because they know what's coming. They know ah, after I do this, I'm going to do that. There is playtime. After playtime, we're going to read. So they know what's coming. It's like they can actually, their little day is programmed and they can actually tell you what's coming. And they feel smart. They feel special for knowing that. And it also help them to become independent because they know what's coming, they can actually regulate all on their own. Yeah, oh, now it's time for me to do this. Now it's time for me to write. Now it's time for me to eat. Now it's time for me to bathe, to bath, to take a bath. So it helps them to be responsible and also regulate and also become independent. Now we have social. It helps them to learn to cooperate, right? And it also prepare children for social expectation, like those in preschool, because in preschool, the children have a time for everything, a time to nap, a time to sleep, a time to eat, a time to go out for gym, a time for the teacher, for the art teacher to come in. There's a time for everything. So when you start doing that at home for them or with them, you're really preparing them for school. That's why parents are the first teachers. Guys, you are the first teachers. So interestingly, it plays a major role in development for the children, cognitively, emotionally, socially, and of course, many other areas. Now, cultural variations. Now, everything we do has to do with culture. It has to do with your belief. You may not see routine and consistency as something important. So therefore, you're not going to implement that in your home with your babies, right? And if you don't believe so, there's no reason for you to do it, right? You're not being forced to do anything that you don't believe in. So culture plays a major part in creating routine and consistencies around the home for the kids. And the thing is, when you set these things, your culture, if you decide to, your culture also get to be part of it because your routine, even though two parents may have same girl, same age, different homes, but your routine may be different from the other one because what you're doing what works for you according to your life, your schedule, your belief, right? That's how you're going to do it, what works for you. If it doesn't work for you, why should you do it? So you're not creating somebody else's routine and consistency in your home, right? So it's very important. So culture plays a very important part in this. Um, your values, you have to consider that. That's culture right there. Parental strategies, right? Now, the way you establish your routine is definitely your choice. You have your own strategies. That's why it's important for parents to communicate with one another because they share ideas, they share strategies. Like, how do you do that? Because my child respond to this a certain way, and but your child respond to this another way. And for some reason, both works, or one may not even work, or you don't feel comfortable with a certain thing that you're doing and how the child is responding. So the parent may have a certain ritual on how they do that. Bedtime ritual. The bedtime ritual could be, okay, before you go to bed, you take a bath, and then after the bath, we read a story, and then after the story, you lay in bed, and then and so on and so forth. You stay there until you sleep. While you lay in bed, I put on some Christian music or what have you, and things like that. Or I lay next to you, and then I share family stories with you. Listen, parental strategies. You have your own way that works for you. You do your thing, right? You just do your thing, right? And then the idea is you maintain consistency in how you do it. You keep that routine, right? For instance, also in consistencies, you use the similar language that you use. For instance, right? Let's just say now we're shifting to setting up boundaries for older kids in as far as parental strategies. Depending on what you establishing for the child, the way you do it matters. For example, if you are laying out rules and boundaries, the way you express it makes a difference. Is also a strategy, right? For instance, you cannot be telling a child, okay, you don't do this, and then you coochie coochie coo. It's not going to work. They're not going to take you seriously. So in setting rules and boundaries, your tone of voice cannot be the same way as when you coochie coochie coo with the child or when you're playing or when whatever. Right. So these are all strategy, knowing how to change tones of voice or attitude or sternness or whatever if that word exists. I think it exists, but I'm not sure. So that's also a parental strategy. How do you, but it's like, what tone of voice did you use that made her accept this boundary to follow this rule or whatever? It makes a difference, your tone of voice. Who would have thought, right? Your tone of voice makes a difference. So using similar language or action when setting boundaries is also a strategy that parent can use. Okay, using bedtime rituals, making sure you keep it and you maintain consistency and how you do the things you do and how you speak and what have you. Okay, some common question that parents have about consistencies and routine for babies 0 to 5 years. We have the first one: why are routines important for my baby or toddler? Why? There's no why thing. Babies like to ask, why? But why, mommy? Why, daddy? Why, grandma? So routine help your child feel secure. That's right. You help them feel secure. What I like, what I think it really does also is it puts them in the know. Children, they love to know things because learning stage, like early learning stage, they love to know things. Oh, I know. After I eat, I know it's nap time. I know. And it's a beautiful thing when they help you also, when they help remind you what's coming up next. It helps them feel secure, right? And they know what to expect, right? It also helps support them and helping them to have a healthy development as far as regulating their body clock, their sleep time, their eating time, and their emotional rhythm. And also, it helps to prepare them again when they have to transition to go to preschool. Routine. You find that a lot in school. Routine. Everything in school is routine. So imagine you are your children again first teacher. So when you start these things at home, you setting them up to succeed in school. That's why my programs at JLEKCA Christian Academy, um, one of our core values is parent as first teachers. Yep, parent as first teachers. You could check us out on www.jlekids.org. Yeah. So so yes, you help the child. You are their first teacher. You start doing these things with them at home, you setting them up to succeed in school. No question about it. The next question, excuse me. How can I create a consistent routine for my baby? How can you create a consistent routine? You start with basic daily activities. Like I said before, you're not reinventing the wheel. There is something you're already doing. You just need to time it and schedule it, right? And schedule it like feeding, napping, bedtime. Keep the timing, right? And the sequence of these activities as predictable as possible. Because when you keep it as predictable as possible, it helps you as well. It helps kind of like put some sort of order in our lives. Sometimes life can get so chaotic. But if the day-to-day activities, the thing that we know we definitely get to do every day, if we could establish some sort of routine with that, it just add order and peace of mind, and it takes away the anxiety of not knowing what to do next or get confused at what have you. So for the children, when we do that for them, we help eliminate anxieties from their lives. Okay, so you want to keep that as predictable as possible. For example, like a bath is always followed by reading and then sleep, right? So keep it predictable. The other question is, my toddler resists routine. What should I do? Mhm. Your toddler resists routine. What should you do? Don't throw them to the dogs, by the way. Don't throw them to the lions. No, 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 no lions then. They are their own persons. That's what I want to say. They are their own persons. Pay attention to them. See, at this age, they crave independence, right? They crave independence. They want to be part of the decision making that concerns them. They don't have those words to know that's what it is. But they don't know enough to say, Mommy, I want to make choices for myself. No. But you as parent or as teachers, at this age, they crave independence. They want to make decisions. But so what you do at that point, you help them. You get them involved in making choices, in the decision making, and setting up the rules and boundaries, right? You get them involved in choosing their own outfit. For example, they may not like nap time, but they like reading. So you say, honey, which book would you like? You choose two books. You go, which book would you like to read for nap? They don't like nap time. That's the trick, right? But which book would you like to read for nap? So, but now they focus that you're giving them choice. They choose a book and it's nap time. They're going to go nap. You know, Pay attention to your child also to see maybe why they're resisting. Like, why are they resisting? If you pay attention, I bet you're going to find out why, and then you will solve that issue. Okay? Okay. Continue to remain flexible, right? Keep your routine flexible and consistent. That also helps them. Sometimes they resist also because we have been flippy floppy in how we do it. They can't really count on us. Like one day it's this way, the next day it's that way, and then we try to call it routine. They're not interested. It's like, Mommy, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what to do. They don't know to tell you that. But sometimes, that may be what's troubling them. Pay attention, okay? Pay attention to how you're doing your thing. And sometimes also, when you first try to establish routine, they're going to resist because they're not used to this new thing yet, right? So you got to keep it up. You got to stand your ground and keep it up, and see how they just follow eventually. They'll follow your lead, right? I remember one time I went to a workshop. I was working at a school, and they had a workshop for teachers. At that workshop, they were teaching parents and teachers and what have you a new way to speak to the kids, especially the children, when they do something wrong, and then they tell us the truth. And what we say, instead of when they tell us the truth, instead of punishing them or what have you, or yelling or whatever, we can say, thank you, honey, for telling me the truth. Thank you for being honest. That's the statement. Thank you, honey, for being honest. Now, when I heard that, I like that statement. I like the flow of it. I like the niceness behind it, if that would exist again. Um, Thank you for being honest. So I went home and my interaction with my son, I keep doing that. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being honest. At first, he resisted because he's not used to me saying that. I was not used to me saying that. But this is something I wanted to implement in my home. So at first when I said that to him, he would be like, "Oh, mommy, stop it. Stop it. Thank you for being honest. Stop it." So he's resisting. He was probably 6 or 7 at the time. So he's resisting. But just because he's resisting, it doesn't mean I have to stop doing it. He just hasn't been used to it yet because it's a new thing. Many people don't respond to new things just like that, right? So after a while, guess what? He had no choice but to. He started speaking like that too. How about that? He started speaking like that himself. So when your child resists routine, it could be because it's noise and the child hasn't gotten used to it yet. So keep it up and be consistent. Stand your ground when you know you're doing something that's good. Okay. Next question. How do I balance consistency with flexibility? That's interesting. Balance consistency with flexibility. You focus on maintaining a consistent framework while allowing room for adjustment. In other words, don't be rigid in your routine. Don't be rigid. You want to be consistent, but sometimes things change. Life happens again. What happened if life happens and then you can't, or the child or you, whatever, can't go to bed at 12? You go at 1. But you still try to keep a sense of order by after, even though you miss that bedtime, after that, you continue the same routine. Whatever came next after bedtime, whatever come next, you continue to follow that. Don't let one miss opportunity or one miss activity, or even if it's the time or what have you, don't let that ruin the whole thing. No, don't let that ruin the whole thing. That's where you have to be flexible. You have to be very flexible, okay? Leave room for adjustment, leave room for changes because life again happens, okay? Life happens. Um, I just mentioned that if bedtime is slightly delayed, keep the same steps in the routine, okay? What should I do? That's the next question. What should I do if I can't stick to the routine one day? Don't throw it out the window though. Don't throw it all out the window just because one day it couldn't happen, right? It's okay to have off days. Life throws off days at us. Listen, life throws off days at us, always. Life throws off days at us. Um, so you focus on returning to the routine as soon as possible. Just because you missed it today doesn't mean life is over, your routine is over, your plan and establishing a routine is over. No, it's not over. It's not over. Um, you take it back. You go back to it as soon as you can. And consistency over time is what matters most, not perfection every day. Consistency over time is what matters most, not perfection every day. Did you hear that? Consistency over time is what matters most, not perfection every day. Some days are going to be off. Okay. Next question. How do routines support my child's development? I think we talked about that, cognitive development and other ways. Routine helps with language development. Hearing the same bedtime stories repeatedly, that helps with language development. Social skills, learning to wait their turns during meals. Social skills, so it does help them. Again, you are the first teacher. And it helps them with self-regulation or self-control. They get to calm down, right? During bedtime. They know that it's not time to be jumping up and down a trampoline when it's bedtime. So it's self-regulate. They learn these things through routine. So don't fret, don't hesitate to do that. Even if you have a child who's resisting you, you gotta keep at it. Keep at it. Okay, keep at it. Next question. At what age should I start implementing routine? Now that's an interesting question. You know, that also has to do with belief. Some people believe a child is a child after they come out of the womb. And some people believe a child is a child even in the womb. And some of us believe a child is a child even before the womb because God says, before you were even conceived in your mother's womb, I knew you. Listen. So your belief will play a part in how you're going to establish routine. But for the sake of this one, I serve ages 0 to 5. We're going to say as soon as they are born. Okay, as soon as they are born. Um, so you can start introducing routine as early as the newborn stage by following cues like feeding and sleeping patterns. Right? Like I said, they eat, they sleep. It's something that's already there. So when you notice, especially when they're newborn, when you notice what time things happen, you begin to set a schedule for them. Set a schedule. Make their little lives more comfortable, at peace, more at ease, less anxiety. So as your child grows, right, you can gradually add more structured routine, right? For instance, as the children grows, it's not just eating and sleeping and pooping and bathing and things like that. There is academic activities now you can add, such as writing, such as them reading to you, right? Such as drawing, coloring, and painting. Well, my accent is like shining right now. So all that is important. So you gradually implement, you gradually add. So that you guys can do this. You guys can do this. And as soon as you can start, you start. Like I said, some people start even while the child is in the womb. They start because I remember when I was pregnant with my son, I before I got pregnant, there were certain things I used to eat that wasn't so healthy, but because I love those things, I ate them anyway. Forgive me, Lord. Forgive me, Lord. Anyway, oh my Jesus. Um, but once I got pregnant, I stopped eating those things. My son wasn't born yet. He was in the womb. I stopped eating those things because I believe that what I ate, he also ate, even though he was in the womb. And it is true, of course. Right? So again, our belief. Right? Now let's go to the next question. How do I introduce a new routine or change an existing one? How do I introduce a new routine or change an existing one? You introduce changes gradually, right? Gradually. And the beautiful thing is, as you're doing it gradually, you can't expect the child to already get it. It's new. And this is a perfect time also when you're doing that for them to resist. It's like we're flipping the little world upside down with a new thing. They already got the first one packed. They were geniuses at it. And all of a sudden, we're changing it on them. So they might resist. They might start crying. They might start kicking and screaming. Tantrums go nuts around the house. These are things we can expect. but we hope they're not going to get to that. So we introduce those changes gradually, right? And of course, you want to also explain the new routine to your child, right? Explain it to them. Don't just like, oh, baby, let's go take a bath. But that's not what I used to do after this activity. You decide to change it, the child is confused. As a teacher, even parent, I know children do when they're confused. They kick and scream. They don't like the caregiver. I think I have a video on that. They just don't like us when we just get them into a place where they feel confused. To be confused is not a good state to be in. Really, it's just not good. So our intention is not to get them confused. So again, we're gonna introduce changes. We're gonna make changes. We move old ones and put in new routines. We got to do it gradually, thinking of the child. It's for their sake. We got to do it gradually, right? You want to explain it to them. And for some older kids, you also want to show them visuals, like show them pictures. Like if you want to all of a sudden incorporate writing into their daily activities, you want to show them a picture of a little child holding a crayon, holding a pencil and writing and things like that. You know, when you show them that, now, oh, okay, they get it. And also one good way is have your routine in pictures. You could choose to do that and post it, sorry, and post it on a wall so that they can see exactly by the pictures what is it that they're going to do. Okay, that also helps them, help make them feel aware of what's happening and feel comfortable, and they can trust their environment there too because they're not all confused as to what to do. Okay. And of course, you want to be patient with them during that time that you're incorporating, you're implementing new routine and you're making some changes. Okay, be patient and consistent while they adjust. Give them time to adjust, understand that they have to adjust. Okay. Just love them in the process. Just love them. Now, the next one is how do I handle routines when we're traveling or visiting families? Now, that's a big one. I remember when my son was smaller, and I thank God for my mom. I used to send my child to him at times when I couldn't be with him, when he couldn't stay with me. And I would call her so often, call my mom so often. Did he do this? He needs to do this at this time. He needs to eat this. He needs to take his bath now. He needs to whatever. It was, I'm happy. I'm grateful that she was patient. And and then she was so kind and understanding also. She never showed me that I was pestering her. It was beautiful. But the pressure was really more on me. I was like, because I wanted to make sure he keep doing what he's supposed to do during that day, the routine. He keep following the routine. But at the same time, I had to understand that he was not at home, and he was in a different place. But my mom, she did try her best. She did try her best. So I'm grateful for that. So I can understand, how when life happens, how the routine may not go as expected, but the idea is to try to maintain some key parts of that routine, right? Like a familiar bedtime ritual, because wherever they are, they're gonna go to sleep anyway. And even if the timing change, you still keep a familiar bedtime ritual. For example, um, let's just say because of the new family or the circumstance, let's just say you're traveling. It says you're traveling. Let's just say you are on a bus. We have some buses that travel far, like 3 hour ride, and you're in there with your child. It's time for sleep. The bed is not there. The timing may not be the right time, but still the child is sleepy, has to sleep. While you're on the bus, the child will probably sleep on your lap, I mean, sorry. will sleep on your lap. You could tell them a story that time, even though things change, even though it's in a different environment. Tell them a story. Try to keep whatever part of that routine you can keep. Do it still. If you used to pray with the child or have the child pray also, do it while you're there on the bus. Right? You may not be able to get on your knees. Right? And if you can, why not? So do it right there. Also flexibility. So that's what happens when things change, when life happens. So you do your best. I like to call it like do your best with what you got. Right? Do your best with what you got. That's all you can do. Now I think we have a last question. Yeah. What are the signs that a routine is working well? Praise God. Praise God. A routine is working well. Praise the Lord. So your child now seems more relaxed. That's one of the signs that a routine is working well. I remember many years ago, I started a group family daycare in my home. And I didn't know how to teach children. Let me take my time to say this. I did not know how to teach children because I was not a preschool teacher yet. So I started the daycare. First, I started babysitting 3 children because I had a home-based business. I decided to add babysitting to that business, and then it turned into a full-blown family daycare. So as I have my children there, I'm guessing as to what I'm supposed to be doing with them during the day. I was fortunate enough to be able to watch them. And through watching them, I was able to find out what they needed. And so if I see the during writing time, I said, oh, they need nap. They need a nap. So I started scheduling nap into their days. And I was crazy about Jesus then too. And so I did Bible stories with them in the morning. And so eventually I began to establish some sort of order and routine into their lives, into my life as well, just by watching them. And then the change that I see in their behavior was just absolutely amazing. It was amazing. I just love what I saw because my children, they were not stressful anymore. I mean, there was this child that I would have her sit on the table and writing. I would give her too much work to do. And then she'd be like, this is too much for me. I think I'm gonna be tired. That's a cue also that I was giving her too much. So I learned from that as well. So I gave her enough that she was not gonna be too tired and start scratching all over her neck and things like that because she was so tired. So that also I needed to learn. Praise God, I learned that. That child was able to speak too, so that also was a big help, right? So, so the environment, the kids were more, they were happier. They were really happier then. After I was able to establish some sort of order and routine for them. Yeah. So to answer this question, let's go back to it. It says the child seems more relaxed, right? Transitioning between activity happens smoothly, right? And they they're able to experience fewer meltdown or tantrums because they're comfortable in the environment. They know what to expect. They can trust the adults that's serving them. They um they are in the know. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Kids love that. I like that. When they are in the know, something they know what's happening. They know what's going on in the environment. Anybody could walk in and ask the child, oh, what's going on here? Oh yeah, we're doing this now. And then after that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. They love that. They just love that. They know. They also develop better sleeping and eating habits, which are indicators of a well-structured routine. Praise God. So everything works out well for them because that's how you know the routine is working well. It's working well. So, okay, now we have some additional tips for parents. Be patient because routine takes time to establish. Okay. And also, you want to stay flexible, as we have seen before. Adapt the routines as your child grows and also as their needs change. Lastly, model behavior. You always want to model the behavior that you want to see in your children. Okay. Show consistency in your actions. Okay. As children learn by observing. Okay, lovelies. Bye.